welcome back to the Fruitful 3 show where we talk about the real life issues.
Buddy.
We finally got Levi back after
Yay!
a month of being absent.
Yeah, I know.
It's fine. We're thriving. We're here. You're here. And Levi has a special gift for us. He wrote the whole script himself.
I did.
I kind of helped a little bit, but he texted me. He's like, "What if we did this?" I'm okay, whatever.
There's actually kind of a story behind how this all came about. Back in November, the CEO of Ford came out and said that as of that day, he knew about 6,000 open bays across the Ford industry, and he couldn't figure out why nobody wanted to be a Ford tech, because you could earn 120. His exact words is, I don't understand why people don't want to become techs, because they can earn $120,000 a year. And I sat there and went, bullshit. Because, and now don't get me wrong, if you've been in the industry long enough, you should be making six figures. That's plain and simple. But to start off with, they taught us in college, there's a 30-30-30 rule, right? You spend $30,000 on tech school to spend $30,000 on tools, only to make $30,000 your first year in the industry. And then on top of it, I ended up going to get my haircut for drill one weekend, and they were complaining. There was two cosmetologists in there. There wasn't a barber in there at the time, and they were complaining about how they didn't have health insurance, they didn't get benefits and stuff like that. And then ironically at drill, I ran into who wanted to go to school to become a teacher. Well, if you got your bachelor's degree and started your first year, you're only making $44,000 is what they were telling me. Okay. And it there's a lot of stuff out here that people don't tell you about jobs. And I talked to Isaiah, okay, we need to, let's do a podcast and break down these jobs of what they do, the pros, the cons, and just kind of tell you things that you don't get taught in school. And that is kind of how this whole segment, or this whole
Script
came about. Yeah, this whole.
Yes. Thank you, Levi.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we're breaking down each career. It's gonna be a long. Hopefully, we'll get it done in time.
We did not. And I'll be honest, do your research, because we just kind of picked a few jobs. We didn't pick all of them. Do your research before you can talk to people. You can, what I'm looking for, talk to people, do your research online, and kind of figure out what they're, and this is one thing I didn't do and I thought about doing, but it was already too late by the time I wrote it, was figuring out what people make in their first year. And
trash.
Figure out what you're going to make in that first year, and if it really, if the investment or the career choice is really worth it. Now, if you love teachers, for example, if you love working with kids and you have a passion for it, by all means become a teacher. I mean, if the passion is there and you don't care about the money, you just enjoy helping kids and dealing with kids and stuff, by all means, go do that career. But I'm telling you right now, there's things in this field, or in these fields, that people don't tell you, and that's why I want to bring light to it.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you're ready for the ride of a lifetime as we go through these, and hopefully
we're gonna take a crazy train on this one.
Yes. Not the brochure version, not the guidance counselor version, but the real version. Yes, sir. But before we kick it off, we have merch. Because what not? Why not?
Oh, you wanna tell him what you're trying to do too?
Yes, I am gonna tell him because I have officially announced publicly that when you go to Ice Beats on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube Music, all the high end streaming platforms except for Tidal because they don't pay me. Um, I am going to take all that money and turn it into a donation for the homeless or the needy or the people that are less fortunate that need clothing. It's free for you. It just, you just, if you have a subscription, I mean, that's your only cost. It helps the world out. It helps me out. It helps you out. You feel good about giving. This is going to be for the entirety of the life of my life. And if my music is still around after I am dead, then hopefully it will be written in my will to pass it on.
And you really need to go watch his video because he completely biffs it in the beginning.
Yeah, I try to do it and I overextended my form and
He recovers real well.
use my little jock walk. The little wee before was real fun too.
Oh man.
Yeah, anyway, go check out merch that's down in the description, iceentertainment.net/drip. Go check out Ice Beats on your favorite music streaming site. We can change the world, we can save people, we can start bringing unity.
And if
That's
and if you know any rappers out there who need beats,
hey, you know.
there you go. I gotta show you some love.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, the first one is hands-on jobs. Wow. Well, we got barber versus cosmetologist.
Yeah.
A barber is a grooming professional specialized in cutting, trimming, and styling short hair, typically using clippers and razors, trained to perform services such as fades, beard shaping, and straight razor shaves with a primary focus on men's hair and facial grooming. I love barbers, man. They get my hair right. And then we have a cosmetologist, a licensed beauty professional trained in the care and enhancement of hair, skin, and nails, providing services including hair coloring, chemical treatments, makeup application, skin care procedures, and nail services within salons and spas. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The the similarities are they share qualities or functions of barbers or the shared qualities of functions of barbers and cosmetologists. Both are licensed care professionals trained in hair cutting, styling, and sanitation practices, providing grooming services to clients, working in customer service environments, and adhering to state health and safety regulations. The difference is barbers focus on short haircuts and facial hair grooming using clippers and razors, while cosmetologists provide a wider range of beauty services involving hair, skin, and nails, including chemical and color treatments. One thing I didn't add in here: cosmetologists they can do fades, but they are not styled in certain specific fades. There are specialty fades out there that only barbers themselves can do, but there are your main fades, high and tights, low fade, mid fade, high fade stuff that they can do.
What
But
about a 4-3 fade?
no, I don't. I think that's a barber.
Honestly, there's not actually. I did walk in and
They're like I says. I don't know exactly where you know what I mean. I don't know exactly where the drop off for,
mhm.
but I do know that cosmetology school teaches hair cutting, and they do a class on that, and they are specialized in it, but they're not, or they're trained in it, but they're not. It's not specialty.
Mhm. It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
4-3 fade is just you put a number 4 millimeter or whatever the metric
yeah.
system is, and then you do a 4, and then you put the 3 on and you do the 3. It's a 4-3 2 inch on top, baby.
The pros, the favorable and beneficial aspects of a profession for barbers and cosmetologists includes flexible work schedules, creative expression, steady client interaction, opportunities for self employment, and the ability to build long term client relationships. Benefits happen if you are a, oh, your benefits, your health insurance stuff that only happen if you're a W2 employee, which has a tendency of only happening in bigger cities. For example, I'm just throw New York out there, right? That actually leads me into the cons. The unfavorable or challenging aspects of the profession for barbers and cosmetologists. This includes long hours on foot, income that may fluctuate with client volume, the ongoing need to update skills, and potential exposure to chemicals or sanitation risks. It reflects the widely experienced lack of traditional employment benefits, especially along those who are self employed, booth renters, or independent contractors, typically resulting in no employer provided health insurance, no retirement plans, no paid leave, and no guaranteed disability or unemployment protections requiring workers to secure and fund their own coverage and savings. You're going to laugh at this analogy, and this is the best way I can describe this, right? And I mean, and I'm not dissing on barbers or cosmetologists when I say this, but for those of you who have gone to strip clubs in your life, it's very similar to how the stripper works for the club, but the stripper is technically considered self-employed, right? Because they have to pay a certain percentage, and it's called a house payment, and that they pay the fees to keep the club in business, and the rest of it is take home.
Hmm.
That's the same concept that's working here.
And honestly, you said New York City. Actually, New York City does a lot of the ones that I always went to up in New
Yeah,
York. They did cash in, and then they just kept the cash.
gotcha. Well, like I don't know what, but it says when I was doing my research on this, a lot of it is big cities offer barbers and cosmetologists to be a W2 employee, and then they offer them
Well,
like the benefits on
yeah,
it.
I'm assuming in in Manhattan,
Yeah,
they'd probably do it, or the high end
yeah.
areas, they'd probably have the W-2. But I was in Brooklyn, baby.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Oh, this the reality is the often unspoken or lesser known aspects of working as a barber or cosmetologist includes the physical demanding nature of long hours spent standing, repetitive hand and wrist motions, and the strain that can lead to chronic discomfort. Encompasses the instability of income due to fluctuating client volume, cancellations, and reliance on tips. The continual need to update skills and invest in new tools, products, and education to keep up with changing trends, and the emotional labor of managing client expectations. Difficult conversations includes the high overhead costs with booth rental or self-employment, the frequent requirement to work evenings, weekends, and holidays, and the long-term health risks of exposure to chemicals, dyes, and repetitive stress. I'm gonna let you take the next one there,
Yeah,
buddy,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you're a little bit more proficient in this field.
This is what I got my degree in. We have a carpenter versus contractor. A carpenter is a skilled and hands-on construction work involving cutting, shaping, and installing building materials. Relies heavily on physical labor, hand tools, power tools, precise measurement, and craftsmanship to build, repair, or install structures, framing, trim, cabinetry, and other wood-based components, which in this day and age you barely see craftsmanship anymore. You just go and order stuff on
You
Amazon.
did I was my definition pretty accurate?
Yes, I
Okay.
I I actually work for a company that actually still does it the old school way, which, is fine. Well, it's cool. It's cool. Anyway, we got a contractor. A licensed professional responsible for overseeing, coordinating, and managing construction projects. Handles business operations, scheduling budgets, hiring subcontractors, obtaining permits, ensuring code compliance, supervising workflow, and project related issues. And for those that think that the contractor doesn't do anything, they are the ones that mainly deal with the homeowners. They get to deal with the stress of the homeowners.
When you decide to go build a house and you decide you want to change it 6 different times, this
Yeah, you're gonna the carpenter gets mad at the contractor, but the contractor's, hey, it's not my fault. I'm just doing what I get told, you
don't
know?
shoot the messenger.
Yeah. And we gotta do it the homeowner's way because the customer is always right. Yeah. If it makes sense, then yes. If it doesn't make sense, then no. The difference is the distinction between a carpenter and a contractor. The one big one is the contractor gets paid more even though they do the easy task. I mean, yeah, they have to deal with the stress of phone calls and dealing with the people, but they don't know what the carpenter has to actually go through unless they worked in the carpenter position before. Carpenters perform the physical labor and hands on building structures, while contractors manage the business side of construction, including planning, permitting, scheduling, and supervising workers rather than completing most of the manual work themselves. The similarities, the shared qualities of carpenters and contractors both work within the construction industry, require knowledge of building code, safety practices, materials, and project sequencing, and contribute to the successful completion of residential or commercial building projects. You may just see a contractor actually do on the job site every once in a while. They actually do know what the heck is going on. Pros and cons. Those that do the carpentry work, they get injured a lot more. The combined averages or advantages and disadvantages of working as a carpenter or contractor. Carpenters benefit from tangible, hands on craftsmanship but face physically demanding labor, variable job schedules, and long term wear on the body. If you see limping, in their 50s or 40s or whatever, they probably fell off a ladder at some point in their life.
Whoa, I think you kind of described this next one, buddy.
Contractors may gain higher earning potential and broader control over projects, but often lack predictable hours, carry greater business liabilities, must handle permits, deadlines, financial pressure, and may not qualify for traditional employee benefits if self employed, requiring them to secure their own insurance and retirement planning. I forgot to mention, which is why they get paid higher, is they have to take their work home with them. And you get a phone call at 1 in the morning. Well, guess what? You're the one that's out and about and going and doing.
Yeah, Bobby did that a few years ago.
Did he?
Yeah, when the building next to the
Oh,
Chinese place, he had to go out there.
yeah, last year.
Was that last year already?
Yeah, that was last year. And then he responded to when the Chevrolet ceiling collapsed or whatever. But yeah, yeah, phone calls. Anyway, the realities is often unspoken aspects of the carpenter and contractor professions. Carpenters routinely endure physical strain from lifting, measuring, cutting, and repetitive movement, while contractors frequently deal with logical chaos.
Logistical.
Yeah, thank you. Logistical chaos, client pressure, scheduling conflicts, inspection issues, and the constant responsibility of keeping multiple moving parts aligned, including the hidden truth that a contractor does not always build the structure. They manage the chaos behind it, coordinating people, materials, and timelines to ensure the work gets done. I do just want to say I would to see more of a equal pay because I mean you can do for contractors a little higher, but there's a big split difference between contractors and carpenters, and that's just insane. They do the same amount of work. It's just contractors end up taking their work home, which is why they should get $5 more an hour than a carpenter.
In other words, carpenters the offensive linemen, while the contractors the quarterbacking. It's all the
Hmm.
hype.
Yeah, the contractor's the skill. skilled people. They don't understand the wear and tear that we have to go through, and then end up wondering why our bodies are we're in a nursing home at age 50, you know. But yeah, anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
I forgot to put this in here, and now I can't remember what it's actually called. But there is actually an expo
Mm.
that for mechanics out there, our big one is SEMA for us, but there's actually expos and there's other conventions and stuff like that to where you can actually continue learning and learn different trades and different things about tools and stuff like that in the field. And unfortunately, around our area, not many people invest in that type of stuff.
No, they do not. My in college, he would go down every year to Las Vegas for the big convention, and he actually tried to take a group of students one time, but the college wouldn't pay for it.
Is
Like,
yours in Vegas too?
yeah, it's in Vegas.
Oh, I can't remember what
I
it
mean,
was.
there's multiple
Yeah.
all over, but I think the biggest one is in Vegas, and that's where we learn all the new stuff and all the cool new technology they've figured out.
Yep. Well, the next one is a tattoo artist versus a piercer. A tattoo artist is a trained body art professional specializing in creating permanent designs on the skin using needles, machines, and pigment. Typically undergoes long, demanding apprenticeships, uses expensive equipment uses expensive equipment and works under significant artistic pressure to deliver custom high quality designs with precision and safety. In other words, whatever they put on your body is there permanently, and it's really hard to get it fixed if they screw up.
Or you go through multiple laser screenings that do
Yep.
third degree burns on your skin, and then you have to take a couple weeks off before they do it again,
Yep.
and then another couple weeks off, and it's intense.
A piercer is a body modification professional trained to safely create openings in the skin for jewelry placement. Performs steady procedure based work focused on cleanliness, precision, and
Anatomy.
anatomy and aftercare. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Often in a fast paced environment with repetitive, high turnover services. The distinctions between a tattoo artist and a piercer. Tattoo artist focuses on creative, custom artwork that requires artistic skill, design planning, and extensive apprenticeship training, while piercers perform consistent technique based procedures involving anatomy, sterilization, and jewelry placement with less artistic variation. The shared qualities of tattoo artists and piercers both work in body modification studios, follow strict sanitation and safety standards, interact closely with clients, require steady hands and precision, depend heavily on reputation and client trust, and must comply with health regulation and licensing requirements. Now, one thing that I kind of forgot to put in here, and I thought I had it in here, was tattoo artists can do piercings.
Mm-hmm.
They have the licensing to do that. Now, there are certain, how do I want to word this? There are a piercer is probably a little bit more sterile and probably a little bit more accurate and trained to do piercings, but if you want just a simple ear piercing or that, then your tattoo artist can go do that for you. A lot of times as tattoo artists and piercers, they work in the same shop as well. That's just one thing that I wanted to add to that. The pros and cons, the combined advantages and disadvantages of working as a tattoo artist or a piercer, or yeah, tattoo artists gain creative freedom and artistic fulfillment, but face pressure to continually improve, invest in costly tools, and navigate inconsistent income tied to appointments. Piercers enjoy steadier, more routine workflow with lower tool costs, yet often encounter repetitive tasks and limited creative expression. Both professions frequently lack traditional employment benefits, such as employer provided health insurance, retirement plans, or paid leave, especially for independent or studio renting artists, requiring them to manage their own financial stability and protection. The reality of the tattoo and piercing professions, tattoo artists endure intense artistic expectations, long apprenticeship periods, and ongoing demand to evolve their style, while piercers handle constant repetition, fast client turnover, and the physical strain of precision based procedures. Both rely heavily on online presence for survival, with the hidden truth that Instagram is survival. Client flow, reputation, and income often depend on consistent media visibility, branding, and content. So basically, long story short is, I mean, in anything you do, you build a reputation by your work, right?
Mm.
But the deal is tattoo artists are a lot harder to do that because Isaiah over here can go build a house and everybody notices that brand new house. But if he went and got a new tattoo, not many people are gonna notice that tattoo. Unless of course it's visible.
It's a
Like,
hand tattoo.
yeah, unless of course, like I said, unless of course there's a sleeve on your arm where you can see it with a t-shirt or a tank top, or
Mm.
I mean that's the difference. A lot of them rely heavily on media because they're constantly taking pictures of their artwork. They're constantly trying to promote their business and everything else, and it's just a tough. You got to consistently keep advertising to bring clientele in.
And you always got to put the store right next to a bar. That's the best marketing you can ever do in your life. Okay? You'll get at 2 a.m. a bunch of drunk people that want tattoo. There you go. You're welcome. Just buy a place next to a bar and you're set. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the tough work nobody talks about. Oh, look at me. That's again construction rules.
There you go, buddy. That's all you.
We have the different stuff people do. You can be a framer. This is mainly in bigger cities, but around this area, you do everything. A construction worker responsible for building the structural skeleton of buildings. Did I say this was a framer? This is a framer. Erecting wood.
Yeah, to be the immature kid of my.
Okay. Erecting wood or metal frames, studs, joists, rafters, and other structural elements. Framers handle precise measurements, heavy lifting, cutting, and shaping materials, and physical work involving standing, bending, kneeling, and climbing. Yeah, I see what you did. You write the script and do it on my sections. You can just laugh at me. How dare you?
I didn't actually think I typed it that way. I
Yeah.
kind of just took a definition and copy. Unfortunately, half of these definitions are copied and pasted.
You cheated?
Everything else is just broke down. This
It's
is
fine.
it was. I didn't know exactly how to. If I found a good definition of one, I was, "Ew, we're using that one," because I don't know how to write these definitions.
Yeah, I don't blame you. A roofer. It's who constructs, repairs, or install roofs, working on elevated, often sloped surfaces. Goodbye to your calves. Installing shingles or roofing materials, frequently outdoors, which is nice, except when it's 98 degrees outside and you are on a roof getting burnt and exposed to the elements.
Well, wait, you just said that.
Roofing involves heavy lifting, climbing, taking 5 pallets of shingles on your shoulders, climbing up a ladder that is wobbly that you don't know is gonna collapse on you or not. Balancing on heights. Hopefully you're not suicidal. Bending, that is a bad joke, my bad. Bending, kneeling, and often working under variable weather conditions. Pretty much roofers are yeah.
And this is where the real money comes in.
No. Roofers make yeah. Are you talking roofers or the next
I
segment?
was talking the next two.
Roofers make hell of a good money too. Yes. As I found out, there's a law on it that contractors and carpenters can only charge $30 an hour, but electrician can charge $100 an hour. How does that make sense? Make that make sense.
Okay, first of all, how in the world are electricians charging as much as what a shop rate, the average shop rate around here is?
Yeah, I mean, it's 50 to $100 that the electrician, the plumbers, and the HVAC people can charge, but the lowest paid one are the ones that actually build the house out of the whole industry. How does that work? You know?
Once again, cold hard truths.
Yeah, yeah. The electrician, I mean, you can get shocked and die, but I can fall off a tall ass building and die, break my neck. A skilled tradesman who installs, maintains, and repairs electrical systems and wiring in buildings. I thought as while I was reading it, electrician could survive, and have superpowers and all this other stuff. But no, I just get
Shazam!
Electricians handle technical tasks, interpret electrical plans, ensuring wiring and systems meet code, and work in lighting circuits, outlets, and other electrical infrastructure, a role that tends to offer more consistent demand and more steady work than labor intensive trades. I actually have a story about I was talking about, electricity and them surviving. There's a kid, I was watching him do electrical work, and I don't know why he didn't just shut off the plugins, but he just was unscrewing an outlet, and he touched the thing and sparks flew and he jumped, and I'm like, why did you why aren't you just shut off the power, bro?
They teach you lockout tagout for
I mean, yeah, you're going around and testing, making sure the outlets work, but that's not how you test an outlet.
yeah, you do. You just shove a fork in it.
Yeah, call it a day. Anyway, we got
Don't do that at home, kids.
yeah, yeah, kids don't do that.
I don't want your parents suing me for bad advice.
Yeah, that's a joke. Don't do it. Anyway, moving on to HVAC technician, a technician specializing in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, installing, maintaining, and repairing HVAC units in residential or commercial buildings, ensuring proper climate control, ventilation, and system functioning. The role can involve heavy equipment, physical labor, and working under varied conditions, but demand for HVAC work remains high, which is insane because they have to calculate airflow of the whole building, and I'm like, that's insane. The differences between those three main ones, or four main ones: framers focus on building the structural framework of a building, and hands-on physical demanding role requiring precision or measurements and carpentry skills. Roofers specialize in working on roofs, combining physical labor with inherent risk because of elevated conditions. Electricians manage technical side of construction, dealing with wiring, electrical, and code compliance, typically offering steady demand and less heavy labor profile compared to framing and roofing. HVAC technicians handle mechanical systems, heating, cooling, ventilation, balancing physical labor with technical mechanical work, and benefit from constant or consistent demand as HVAC systems are essential to building function. We can mention drywall after the fact, and the sheeters, which typically is the framers' work, and then you have the window installation and
Glazers.
glazers. Yeah, that's what they're called. And then you have the plumbers come in, and plumbers kind of fall under HVAC because most plumbers around here do HVAC too. But yeah, each of these roles shares several characteristics. They work within the construction industry, require physical labor or technical skill, involve safety risk, cools, equipment, heights, environmental exposure, depend on demand from new construction, repairs, or renovations, and often require flexibility working on outdoors or under verifying weather on tight schedules are all vital to building and maintaining structures, and all contribute to the overall process: construction, renovation, or maintenance. The pros are for roles electrician and AVAC technician. There tends to be a steadier demand and more stable technical work compared to purely manual labor trades. HVAC in particular has strong growth prospects and projected job openings, and demand rising due to ongoing construction and system upgrades. For framers and roofers, there's tangible skilled craftsmanship, not really anymore. Concrete results and demand tied to housing and building construction, useful for these who prefer hands on work. Framing involves heavy physical labor, repetitive motion, lifting, bending, and risk of injury from falls, improper equipment, or structural stability or instability. Roofing is one of the most dangerous construction jobs, high risk of falls, slips, heat, or weather related injuries, and serious accident. And if you don't have a good hailstorm, you might not actually have a job. Well, you'll have jobs, but not many
Or
jobs.
unless you get a roof that, or unless of course you get high winds that decide to blow a roof off.
Or that too. All trades are subject to weather. Outdoor may be delayed or more dangerous by heat, cold, rain, or storms. Weather can affect safely, scheduling, and income.
Stay hydrated, folks.
Yes, water. Physical and long term health risks drain on body, potential for chronic injuries, exposure to hazards, height, tools, materials, environmental stress, demand for technical trades, electrician, HVAC with can vary with economy and construction cycles through long term demand outlook and generally stable. The lesser discussed truth of construction work across these rules. Weather is often the real enemy. Construction workers frequently contend with heat, cold, rain, snow, wind, or storms, and those conditions can halt work, increase risk, or complicate projects. Outdoors based trades, framing, and roofing are especially vulnerable when weather changes. Even with safety gear and precautions, injuries are common. Falls, slips, strains, and accidents remain significant across roles. The physical toll accumulates over time. Frequent heavy lifting, odd hours, repetitive motion, exposure to harsh conditions can lead to long-term health exposures, joint back issues, fatigue, etc. For labor-based trades, framing, roofing, job stability can be unpredictable. Project-based work often means inconsistent scheduling, weather delays, and periods without work. For technical trades, electrician, HVAC, even though demand is relatively steady, workers may face stress from deadlines, complexities, and responsibility, and must stay updated on codes, regulations, and technologies to remain employable.
Anything else you want to add to that? So that's technically you're more proficient in that field.
And no, not really.
Okay. I was hoping I kind of hit everything.
Yeah. I mean, I thought of stuff, but I kind of forgot it already. I was reading through it.
The next one is welding, which a few years ago was a micro that does the dirty jobs, right? He they actually the government a few years ago actually called him up looking for welders because they needed welding done on military equipment, and Micro unfortunately couldn't find anybody that was qualified enough or wanted to do a job, which honestly I think that'd be a badass job to go say I welded on military shit.
Yeah, and then think about the military contract pay, you know?
Yeah. So I had to throw welding in here because after that story and nobody wanted this job, it kind of made me wonder why no one wanted this job. There are MIG welders, which are a semi automatic arc welding process in which a continuously fed consumable wire electrode and shielding gas creates a weld. Commonly used in manufacturing, automotive repair, fabrication, and general metalworking due to its speed and ease to use. A MIG welder operates a wire feed welding gun to join metal components quickly and efficiently. Duties include setting voltage and wire feed speed, preparing surfaces, reading blueprints, performing production level welds, and maintaining consistent quality on mild steel, stainless, or aluminum applications.
No.
TIG TIG welding, a manual arc welding process using a non-consumable tungsten electrode and separate filler rod when required, known for producing precise, clean, and cosmetic. I can't say that word now.
Cosmetically.
There we go. Superior welds on. Funny part is I could say that the other day. Welds on thin metals and specialty alloys. The job description is a TIG welder manipulates a torch with one hand while feeding filler metal with the other, often using a foot pedal to control amperage. Responsibilities include fine detail welding, working on stainless steel, aluminum, and exotic metals, maintaining spotless surfaces, and delivering high appearance, low defect welds in controlled shop environments. And then you have pipeline welders, a specialized welder who joins sections of pipe, commonly in oil, gas, and water infrastructure. Using code qualified techniques requires high skill certification and the ability to work in remote outdoor environments. The job description for a pipe welder is performs field welds in on a large diameter pipe, completes root and hot passes under strict inspection standards, interprets welding codes, and handles physically demanding work in varying weather conditions. Work typically involves travel, extended job sites, and maintaining multiple qualification tests. All right, while we're on the topic of pipeline welders, one of the best paying jobs, or one of the best paying, I should say, one of the best paying jobs all around is a pipeline welder, especially one where you gotta do underwater welding. Those guys, the skill set for it is very very rare, and it takes a lot of talent because you gotta do it underwater and everything else.
You gotta breathe
Yeah.
while welding underwater.
Yeah, it's and there's a lot of people that say they can do it, but by the time it's said and done, a lot of people kind of fell out because they can't figure out.
The breathing underwater.
Dude, they got snorkels and oxygen tanks and shit.
I
But
know.
I
I
know,
know.
I get where you're going though. But no, they just because you're not stable.
Yeah, you're floating.
Yeah,
You gotta hold on to everything.
if I'm sitting here right now, here's a table, and I can sit here and I can hold it steady. Now, when you're floating in thin air, basically you're pretty much weightless in water, and
Mhm.
to make perfect welds, it takes a different kind of skill, and it's amazing what they do.
And you gotta warm up the metal when you have cold ass water coming on it.
Yep.
You know.
Like I said, there's just a lot of variables in that, and that's a lot of people high or pay higher because they can't get that. They can't get people to do that. The difference is a MIG differs by offering high speed, easier learning, and greater suitability for production environments. TIG differs by emphasizing precision, cleanliness, and slow controlled craftsmanship. Pipeline welding differs by requiring field ready skills, strict certification, safety and awareness, and the ability to weld under outdoor or remote conditions where code compliance is mandatory. The similarities, all three rely on arc welding principles, metal preparation, heat control, safety awareness, and consistent weld quality. Each requires understanding of joint fit up,
Metallurgy.
metallurgy, PPE usage, and the ability to work around heat, sparks, and molten metal. The pros and cons. The pro to being a MIG welder is fast, productive, beginner friendly, and cost efficient. The con is less precise, more splatter, limited aesthetic quality. TIG, highly precise, clean, ideal for thin or specialty metals, superior appearance. The con is slow, skill intensive, more expensive equipment. On pipeline, the pros is high earning potential, strong demand during active projects, valuable specialized skills. The con is extensive travel, harsh conditions, strict testing, job cycles dependent on industry demand. Now, the reality of it is MIG welding requires consistent tuning of settings. Easy doesn't mean effortless. TIG welding demands patience, coordination, and hundreds of hours of practice before welds achieve professional quality. Pipeline welders frequently live out of hotels or remote camps for weeks or months at a time with long hours and unpredictable job schedules. High pipeline pay is typically tied to per diem, truck pay, and overtime. The base rate alone rarely tells the full story. Work availability, especially in pipeline construction, fluctuates with industry cycles and can result in periods of downtime. Yeah, buddy. Now me.
Hold on, I'm just skipping
Oh,
through.
you're good. So I kind of on this one, I'll be honest, you'll notice this when I get into it, but I kind of took the old school mechanic during the 60s, 70s, and 80s compared to the automo
The technician.
yeah, the technician that you're called today. A mechanic is a trades who inspects, diagnoses, repairs, and maintains mechanical systems, primarily in vehicles and equipment, historically known for hands-on, tool-driven work across engines, drivetrains, brakes, and electrical systems. The job description is a mechanic performs troubleshooting, component replacement, mechanical adjustments, and system repairs using hand tools, power tools, and diagnostic skills. Responsibilities commonly include identifying faults, performing routine services, and ensuring safe, reliable vehicle operation. A mechanic in the old days, I kind of took this from the 1970s. I just used a time frame. They characterize there were are characterized by work on carbureted engines, simple wiring, mechanical fuel systems, and fewer electronic components. In other words, basically everything. Basically, all you really needed was your key to turn over and your lights to turn on. Basically, they relied heavily on manual skills, diagnosis, smell and feel, and mechanical troubleshooting. Tasks included tuning carburetors, adjusted timing, rebuilding engines, and repairing largely mechanical systems without computerized controls. If none of you know what a carburetor is, go look it up. I'm not describing it.
That's the cold hard truth.
Because Stone Cold said so. Don't sue me for that's copyrighted.
I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, that's what Stone Cold used to say in the 90s. And that's the Stone Cold truth. And he goes, and that's the cold truth because Stone Cold said, don't Stone Cold, if you're watching this, please don't come after me.
He's gonna stone
You
cold you.
you and
Whatever.
you unfortunately have a lot more money than I do. Please don't come after me.
He'll just do whatever his specialized move was.
You can totally flip me off, stun me, and drink beer afterwards. I will totally take it.
It's the best day of my life.
Just remember, I am 10 times cooler than Logan and Jake Paul. Just remember that.
Yes.
A modern vehicle, a automotive technician, which is what they're called in today's world, is a modern vehicle repair professional specializing in diagnosing and repairing electronically controlled and computer integrated systems found in contemporary cars and light trucks. An automotive technician uses scan tools and advanced diagnostic equipment to troubleshoot sensors, networks, modules, and drivability issues. Work includes mechanical repairs, electrical diagnosis, updates, system calibrations, and maintenance on modern vehicles with complex electronics and emission systems. All right, first off, since I mentioned scan tools, if you have a check engine light on and you go to O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whatever parts store out there that does free diagnostic, it ain't a true diagnostic. Hate to tell you this, but it's not.
What?
Well, all they do is what they do is they simply hook their scanner up, they pull the code, and they tell you this is the possibility of what needs to get fixed. All that code does is it tells you there is a problem, and it, for example, let's say it is a P0303, which is a cylinder 3 misfire, right?
Mm.
All that computer is telling you is there is a problem in cylinder 3. It could be compression, it could be fuel, and it could be spark. It's just telling you there that's all it is it's a helpful guideline to lead you down the right path of figuring out what the actual problem is. Just because it throws an oxygen code doesn't mean it is an oxygen. Fuel problem can cause oxygen codes. Too much air can cause oxygen codes, stuff like that. If you think those free diagnostics, unfortunately, you go to your mechanic shop, they're gonna laugh at you. I'm trying to warn you ahead of time because fortunately, I've had to bite my tongue and try my hardest not to laugh at people when I was in the field and they told me what was wrong with their car because the computer told them that's it.
The computer's always right though.
You can do a lot with a scan tool. And all the scan tool is basically a giant computer that hacks into the car's computer
To tell it where it's hurting. It's an X-ray scan.
and you can go in there and with the scan tool you can check parts, you can diagnose parts, you can test parts. There's what they call function tests in there, and you can diagnose it with a scan tool. Other times, you might have to get a voltmeter or an ohm meter out to actually tell if there's a broken wire or else wrong. But yeah,
Yay.
diesel technicians, these are your heavier truck people, semis and tractors and stuff. A specialist in the service, repair, and diagnosis of diesel powered trucks, heavy machinery, agricultural equipment, buses, or industrial engines. A diesel technician works on high torque engines, fuel delivery systems, turbos, emission systems, hydraulics, drivetrains, and heavy duty components. Duties often involve lifting large parts, servicing commercial trucks or machinery, and troubleshooting high pressure fuel systems and DEF emission technologies. Which, if people don't know what DEF stands for, that's diesel exhaust fluid, and it is nasty stuff. I don't ever know why they truly came out with this, but it'll eat through stuff. And whatever you do, don't put don't put DEF in your diesel tank. It will blow up your motor. Basically, it'll lock it up.
But they add def to in the wintertime to the fuel, don't
No, it's a fuel. It's a winterization fuel additive.
they? Okay.
Diesel. Okay, so what Isaiah's talking about is diesel fuel is very, very refined. It is a lot harder to burn than normal gas, and it takes a lot of pressure for it to burn. What happens is since it is refined, it can actually gel up, and obviously the word gel is it turns into gel, right? What they do is during the winter time, because it has the capability of freezing, they put an additive in the fuel to it doesn't always work, but I would say probably about 90-95% of the time it does work. But they put this additive in there to keep the diesel from breaking down and gelling and that it actually continues to work. Yeah, that's what Isaiah's talking about. The good old body man, a collision repair specialist who restores damaged vehicles to structural integrity and proper appearance following accidents. A body technician repairs or replaces panels, straightens frames, performs plastic or metal repairs, install new components, sands, paints, and aligns body parts. The role requires precision, familiarity with fillers and coatings, and the ability to work with both steel and modern composites. I'll say that one in pros and cons. The distinguishing characteristics between the early mechanics, modern automotive technicians, diesel technicians, and body technicians. The early mechanics focused on mechanical systems, carburetors, simple wiring, and hands on engine tuning. Auto technicians rely heavily on electronics, diagnostics, computer modules, and based repairs. Diesel technicians handle high power engines, heavy equipment, hydraulics, and commercial duty systems. Body technicians repair physical damage, panels, structures, and finishes rather than drivetrains or electronics. And the similarities are they all rely on mechanical aptitude, problem tool knowledge, safety awareness, and the ability to diagnose problems under pressure. Each job requires physical stamina, attention to detail, and commitment to restoring equipment or vehicles to safe functional condition. All right. Let me just go down a little rabbit hole here since I mentioned tool knowledge. First of all, I have never been to SEMA and I really want to go to SEMA. And but the last 2 years, Harbor Freight has come out with the Icon. They came out with the Icon series. It was a really, really good brand, but unfortunately, it had problems. And they came out with the G2 series, which is the Generation 2, the Icon G2 series. And the G2 series, the ratchets themselves and the wrenches have both outperformed Snap on the last 2 years at SEMA. If you are looking to go into one of these fields, Tecton has a starter kit on their website that will give you basically a startup kit of your basic essential tools, which will get you which will help you do a lot of your basic work. As of right now, Harbor Freight has come out with kits. There is one kit that provides a toolbox. It provides a mechanical startup kit. That's for $800. You can do, and if you can't afford the $800 up front, they offer financing, and it is a 0% interest for the first 24 months. The Icon, they have another one for the Icon series that is roughly $3,200. It comes with a toolbox, a startup tool. It's basically everything is Icon. And since that's their top of the line brand, they're doing, if you can't afford that, they have it broke down into financing. And I don't remember what your monthly payments are for either one. I don't remember that, but I do know they do 0% interest for the first 36 months. You're talking, if you want to get into this one of these fields, I would highly look at Tecton. They are taking off in the trades world. They are starting to outperform Snap-on too. Another one is Milwaukee. They are starting to, their power tools have outperformed Snap-on the last 2 years I know this year they came out with a new battery powered tool. It's a
Impact.
Impact, and they came out with those and it totally knocked us off of Snap-on. And then last year Milwaukee came out with something else that smoked Snap-on too. And it was two different categories, right? It was two different types of tools. But the deal is they preach you that everywhere you go, they preach you that Snap-on's the best of the best. But lately, the last few years at SEMA, there's been other tools out there that have been knocking Snap-on off the top charts. The other thing too is you can go and do your research on it too, but Snap-on is not made in the US anymore. The deal is they claim it's made in the US, but technically it's all built overseas. It's brought to the US, it's stamped with Snap-on and made in the US. That's all it is it's brought over here and it gets stamped. You're not technically paying for a made in the USA tool. The deal is I can officially tell you that Harbor Freight, their Icon series is all made in the US. With that being said, is you really got to do your research with this stuff. Yeah. And then the other thing is if you want to get into a mechanical school, actually hold on here. I'll go through the pros and cons because I think I wrote this in here. The pros and cons, the early mechanics, they were high independence. Mechanical repairs were straightforward, fewer electronics, strong hands-on satisfaction. The cons were heavy physical labor, frequent engine rebuilds, which unfortunately is a lot of today's stuff. Limited tools for diagnosis, exposure to leaded gas and harsh chemicals, automotive technicians, high demand, good pay, potential, advanced tools making diagnosis easier, work in diverse and mentally challenging, constant training required, complex electronics, expensive tools, tight labor tools, and production or production pressure. All right. Constant education. That was where I was going to go before I decided to go into this. With being a mechanic, if you go out and you get your ASE certification, you need to renew that every 5 years, is what they recommend. And then if you need to find a way to, a lot of times is to keep your ASE certification, you need to do what they call continue education. Now, the downfall with continued education is a lot of the shops around here don't invest back in their techs. I mean, Isaiah mentioned a little bit of how construction guys, they don't get to go to certain expos or certain conventions and stuff like that. A lot of times out here is if you want to continue that higher education, you are paying for that out of your own pocket. There's a lot of, I won't really say an expo, but there's a lot of
Conventions,
yeah, well, I wouldn't really call that either.
meetings.
There's yeah, we'll call it a convention, but there's a more technical term for it in the mechanical world. But you'll basically go and you can sit down and you can pick, there'll be public speakers that'll explain the, say Snap-on comes out with a new program for their scanners, you can go to that. Or Tesla has a certain class that they'll teach how to work on Tesla cars and the insides of that. You're constantly going to these things and you're constantly learning. The downfall is most of the time you're paying for them out of pocket, unless of course you find a shop that actually does it, which here in the state of Nebraska is probably very, very rare. If you are looking to go into this field, one thing I would recommend you doing, because I wish I knew this when I was younger, is go into your interview at whatever shop and ask them how many training hours do their technicians have. If they can't tell you that, that's a red flag. Now, if they tell you, hey, let's go check, we don't know off the top of our head, but we can check our books, that is actually a good answer, because that's saying they document certain people and document things. Yeah, that's just little tidbits that I wish I knew going into this, because like, oh, and then the other pro and con is pay. There's this thing called, you can either do hourly wage or you can do flat rate. Both of them have their pros and cons, because you can do hourly and you get paid by the hour. Flat rate is
Salary.
basic. Well, it ain't really salary.
Oh,
It's based off of commissions.
yeah. There we go.
Let's say a job takes three, or let's say the book says 3 hours to do that job, and it takes you 4 hours to do that job. You just lost out on an hour. They're only paying you that three, compared to hourly, where if it took you 4 hours, you're still getting paid for that 4 hours, because that's how long. But the good part is you can hit 40 hours, and if you hit 40 hours, you can technically not work rest of the week. Dealerships do allow that. The the downfall with a lot of this is, like I said, is if you're on commission or flat rate, if you are not turning wrenches, you're not making money. So it's kind of like a feast or famine type deal. Hourly wage, those guys happen to get really screwed over, because they only get paid a certain amount and they don't actually make the money as the good money flat rate techs do. I have learned that a lot of shops are, there's a lot of shops out there that are trying to figure out how to balance. Basically, they give you a hourly wage and then they give you kind of a commission bonus, is what they kind of call it, and they kind of make an average of your commission work and then they give you a bonus on top of your paycheck. If you can find one of those shops and they're willing to train you and help school you and stuff like that, that is perfect. Diesel technicians, very high demand. Strong wages, valuable specialization, steady commercial industry. The cons are extremely heavy components, dirty work environments, exposure to high pressure chemicals and emission systems. Body technicians. They're very artistic and technical skill, rewarding transformations, strong job security, insurance backed workflow. Cons is dust, fumes, repetitive sanding, physical strain, precise work with little margin for errors. Basically, long story short, is you know how Isaiah was saying roofers? Unfortunately, your body man are kind of like your roofers. They as long as your vehicle is not driving, the mechanics basically keep the roofers in business, just the framers kind of keep roofers in business. It's the same way there. The reality of these jobs are knees often deteriorate from constant bending, lifting, kneeling in tight spaces. Skin is repeatedly exposed to chemicals, oils, sharp metals, and abrasives. Lungs can suffer from years of breathing dust, fumes, brake dust, paint vapors, and exhaust when protection isn't consistent. Tool costs accumulate into thousands. Quality tools are a long term financial investment. Modern technicians face increasingly pressure from diagnostic complexity and rapid automotive technology changes. All right, tool costs. I kind of mentioned the whole tool cost thing above with
30,
like
30, 30.
yeah, with the 30 30 30 and with what Harbor Freight's doing. There are now shops around the world are starting to realize that it's a lot people can't afford tools, but they are starting to do what they call apprenticeships again, and they will actually buy you tools. It ain't going to be unfortunately, it's not going to be Snap on or Mac or you know what I mean, those top name guys. It's going to be probably the
Walmart
Icon.
version.
Well, it's going to be the Harbor Freight, the Icon series.
Mm.
It's going to be that $3,000 option, or it's going to be the $800 option from Harbor Freight more than or they might find you a Tecton kit or you know what I mean, other fairly priced kit. And what they'll do is you officially sign a contract with them and say a lot of shops are doing 2 or 3 years, and after those 2 or 3 years, those tools are officially yours. Now, if you don't make it those 2 or 3 years and say you quit or you get fired or whatever, you leave, what or however you get terminated, in other words, they take those tools back. Those are the shop tools.
Mhm.
But if you meet, it says they're now writing, they're doing apprenticeships and they're writing contracts. And if you meet those contract agreements and you meet those years, those tools are automatically yours. Which honestly, I think that's the best way of going about it, because you're not expecting to be thousands and thousands of dollars in debt coming straight out of tech school. You're actually trying to invest in your guys.
Mhm.
Now that is they don't teach you in school, is it?
Nope. I have a deal for you, buddy.
What's that deal?
The projected rate of this is going to be on 3 hours.
Fair enough.
I'm saying that we end this right here,
And
and
we do a part two.
we do a part two.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm gonna do a little teaser. We get the jobs that emotionally drain you. You know, the healthcare and the food industry. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I had a funny feeling after I did all this work. I kind of guessed it might have went a little longer.
Yeah, I saw 21 pages, buddy. You done screwed yourself.
I was trying to break it down to where what they don't teach you in school. I was trying to get to the nitty gritty, boys.
And then we have tech jobs that aren't what you think, which is your ITs and developers and whatnot. Well, yeah. Anything you to add to our manual labor or hard labor, whatever you want to define the construction and mechanics and welding industries.
So like I said, there's a lot of jobs in there that there's certain jobs in there that we did not cover in trades. We were trying to, well, first of all, I was trying to, Isaiah kind of gave me a little bit of an outline, trying to follow that outline and trying to keep this short, and I wouldn't say short, but I was trying to get down to the nitty gritty of everything, and plus kind of, I wouldn't say ditch jobs, but ditch them to and time we could hit our time. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to do a part two on this. But yeah, there's a lot of the trades are kind of the last of a dying breed, and there's a lot of people out there who
They're making a comeback.
I know, but it took it
Don't call
and
it a comeback. I've been at it for years.
you and I were thinking the same page. But my advice to you is the trade jobs have gotten a bad rap the last few years, and people have started to realize, I mentioned, is with the mechanics, and they're starting to do the apprenticeship, and they're starting to figure out they need to invest in their guys and in their techs and try to make them better at their job. um with that being said, is a lot of other trade jobs are starting to figure that out, and they're trying to there's a lot of people out there who are using media to show them kind of the ins and outs of their job and what they do and the amount of skill it takes to do their job. When you get billed, I know in the mechanical world, you get you can see a shop say, "Oh, it's $100 an hour for labor."
Mhm.
And you're like, man, $100 is a lot. And you could have bills that are three, four, five, maybe even $10,000 by the time it's said and done, depending on the repair. Um, and a lot of people are, ooh, that's too much money. But a lot of these guys are trying to use this media to show them how we diagnose things, how why it's taking this long, trying to show you the complication with parts.
Mhm.
And even even now they're starting to figure out that you can buy stuff on Amazon. And what's crazy is I watched a video the other day, and I can't remember the type of car it was on, but they had a broken hood latch, and the people at home put a new hood latch in off of Amazon, and that hood latch caused the car not to start. And it worked for a week, and then all of a sudden it caused the car to stop working. And so they took it into a shop, and the shop couldn't even figure it out. And then and when you think about stuff like that, is it's they don't even think would you think a hood switch would cause a car not to start? No.
No,
But
it has to be a
apparently,
newer car.
yeah, it was a newer one. But that hood switch was giving off a signal that was causing the safety features in there to not let the car start.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, is you gotta be very, and that's the thing they're trying to teach you, is you can buy stuff on Amazon that's 10 times cheaper, but you don't know exactly what you're going to run into. And a good shop is gonna probably give you a good quality part, which is gonna cost, which unfortunately might break your bank account. But at the end of the day, they know that's a good quality part instead of that's gonna cause you problems down the road. And Isaiah's probably seen that in construction and stuff too, where you can get certain,
Like I said, there's not really much craftsmanship
yeah,
anymore. You just go to Amazon and just buy the cabinets you want or
yep.
the trim you want or Home Depot or Menards that pre-makes everything for you.
But the pro you take the pros and cons of that. The pros
Quicker,
is it's faster installation, it's quicker, it's already pre-built,
so
but
it's cheaper.
and it's cheaper, but at the same time, it's made out of a cheaper material.
Mhm.
And it's probably gonna break easier. It's probably not gonna last as long as
And
you
some of them are not built for quality.
yeah. I was gonna say, you remember the old oak beds in the 80s and stuff. Those things are super heavy, but they've lasted generate. Those things will last hundreds of years.
Mhm.
I'll be dead, and I have an oak bed in my my house, an oak frame bed, and I guarantee you that was built probably in the 80s, and we bought it used, and I guarantee you when I die, that oak frame bed is still gonna be able to put a mattress on and sleep on. That's the crazy part about that.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Anything else you want to add to the trades?
No, not really.
Just do your research, figure it out. Like I said, one thing I missed doing in here is doing your first annual salary and I would totally look into what you'd be making the first year and what you'd be spending on tools and if it is really worth it. Next week, part 2, continue.
Next week is actually going to be our Christmas
Oh,
thing.
fair enough.
You probably won't see the part 2 until after the New Year's.
Dun dun dun. The
Yeah.
suspense.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to build it up. We got to be
Yeah.
a TV show.
Yeah. Hey, if we get 100 views and 25, I will drop it early. I will drop everything and get it done.
We do that. Fine. I'll even make this better. We do that. We will drop part 2 and our Christmas special back to back.
That is gonna be complicated. That's a lot of. That's easy for you because you get to go on home. I get to stay up till 3 a.m. in the morning.
Hey,
I mean,
I'm trying to give them a little bit of an. I'm trying to make it impossible here, but
yeah, I mean, I could edit one and get 3 hours of sleep, wake up, and do it all over again.
Well, we don't have a both drop them on the same day. You could.
Well, I could drop one in the morning and one in the evening. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You could space it out, but I'm just saying they'd get dropped back to back.
Yeah,
whether it's back to back days or back to back hours, we
back to back to back. All right. Anyway, go check out the merch. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned about trades. Look out for part 2. We have merch. Go listen to Ice Beats, because I did a whole explanation in the beginning. Honestly, it'd be beneficial for everyone to bring unity. That's the main goal here. And anyway,
also, if you're looking for a good Christmas present, don't be shy to.
Yeah, that's what I want to advertise. My advertising was whack today.
Obviously, as Christmas is right around the corner, if you're looking to stay warm in the wintertime or looking for a good present,
he has a hoodie. I have a hoodie. They're very comfortable. I literally, it's pretty much my only coat I wear during the winter time. It is below freezing right now, and I will go outside and take a walk around town in just this hoodie because it's warm. And cozy. It's naturally cotton. Well, mainly naturally cotton. It's a gift of giving. Go and give it to your loved one. You know, who doesn't want angel wings on their back? And if you don't want angel wings, there's one that's just plain.
We got several styles. Hell, he's even got sweatpants. If you don't want a sweatshirt,
yeah, I got sweatpants. I actually have sweatpants coming. I don't have any sweatpants on my store.
Oh,
I just designed sweatpants and then left them.
Gotcha.
But I do have sweatpants coming possibly because I just got a new email saying, "Hey, we got a new product. Ooh, let me try it." I get excited when that happens. I like reading my emails of new stuff I get to play with. Anyway, I'm out. We talked way too long. It's not really that long, but catch you in the next. Get ready for Christmas.
The next.